What began as a routine talk show appearance turned into a television moment no one could have predicted. When Rowan Atkinson, the man who brought the world the silent genius of Mr. Bean and the razor-sharp wit of Blackadder, walked onto the set of The View, he expected a lighthearted discussion about comedy, creativity, and his latest work. What he got instead was a confrontation that spiraled so quickly, it left both the audience and his hosts stunned. The cameras rolled, the applause faded, and under the hot studio lights, Atkinson sat poised, his usual mix of politeness and quiet confidence. Across from him, Joy Behar leaned forward, wearing the kind of mischievous smile that longtime viewers recognized instantly. It was the smile she wore when she smelled controversy. Her first question landed like a dart. "Before we move on, don't forget to hit the subscribe button." "So, Rowan," she said, tilting her head, "you've made a career out of characters who don't say much. Mr. Bean barely utters a word. Even in Blackadder, you're the serious one. Is that because you don't have much to say in real life?" The words hung heavy in the air. A few uneasy laughs rippled through the audience. Atkinson blinked, then smiled slightly. The smile of a man who'd just been challenged, but wasn't about to be rattled. "Well, Joy," he replied evenly, "there's a great difference between having little to say and knowing when to speak. Silence, used well, can say more than a page of dialogue." It was a graceful deflection, but Joy wasn't interested in grace. She pressed on. "Or maybe," she shot back, "you hide behind your characters because you're uncomfortable being yourself. When do we ever see the real Rowan Atkinson?" The temperature in the room seemed to rise. The other hosts glanced nervously at one another, while Whoopi Goldberg subtly shifted in her chair, sensing the tension brewing. Atkinson's expression barely changed, but his voice sharpened. "I'd argue that my characters are explorations of humanity, not disguises. Physical comedy isn't about avoiding speech. It's about understanding expression beyond words." Joy gave a dismissive laugh. "That sounds awfully pretentious for a man who made millions pretending to be a bumbling fool." The audience groaned softly. Atkinson's polite smile faltered. "Pretentious or not," he said, "that so-called fool has connected with people across languages and cultures. That's not simplicity, Joy. That's universality." Her eyes gleamed. She'd found her angle. "Universal? Come on, Rowan. Mr. Bean is basically a grown man with the brain of a child. What lesson does that teach anyone? That incompetence is cute?" For a moment, silence reigned. Then Atkinson leaned forward, calm but firm. "Mr. Bean isn't incompetent. He's inventive. He faces the absurdities of everyday life with curiosity and persistence. Qualities we could use more of." But Joy wasn't done. "Oh, please. You've built an empire on childish slapstick. At least American comedians talk about real issues." Atkinson tilted his head. "I wasn't aware geography determined artistic merit. But if simplifying art to stereotypes is your standard, perhaps that says more about your critique than my work." A hush fell. Behar's smirk wavered, briefly, before returning. "That's rich coming from the man who turned clumsiness into a career." Atkinson's eyes glinted. "And yet, that clumsiness, as you call it, has brought joy to hundreds of millions. When was the last time you created something that made the world laugh instead of dividing it?" Gasps rippled through the audience. For the first time, Joy's confidence faltered. "Excuse me?" she snapped. "I've been in this industry for decades. I've written books, hosted shows." Atkinson interrupted gently. "Yes, you've occupied space in entertainment. But there's a difference between taking up space and contributing something meaningful to it." Whoopi tried to intervene, but the moment had taken on a life of its own. "Typical British arrogance," Joy sneered. "You think your humor is smarter, your comedy deeper. Here in America, we say what we mean." Atkinson's reply was quiet, but devastating. Perhaps, but saying something doesn't always mean saying something worthwhile. That line hit like a thunderclap. The crowd was motionless. Joy slammed back. "Oh, give me a break. Your Mr. Bean is nothing but a mime act. He doesn't even talk." Atkinson finally leaned forward, his patience thinning. If silence were easy, there'd be 1,000 Mr. Beans. But there aren't, because silence demands thought, restraint, understanding of humanity. Things that, I fear, are often missing from modern television. Joy's face reddened. "You're calling me ignorant?" "I'm saying," Atkinson replied, "that you've mistaken noise for insight." The audience audibly gasped. Joy shot to her feet. "I don't have to sit here and listen to a washed-up comedian insult me on my own show." Atkinson rose too, calm but resolute. "Then don't listen. But perhaps that's the problem, isn't it? You don't listen. You perform. You provoke. You confuse volume with value." For a moment the world seemed to freeze. Then he added softly, "I came here for a conversation. What I found was theater, and not the good kind." Behar was trembling with rage. "You're just a has-been, Rowan, a relic from another time." Atkinson gave a quiet, almost pitying smile. "If being a relic means valuing thought over shouting, I'll accept that." He slipped on his jacket and turned toward the hosts. "Whoopee, Sarah. Thank you for your kindness. The rest," he said, glancing briefly at Joy, "is noise." And with that, he walked off the set, leaving behind stunned silence, an audience, unsure whether to applaud, and a host realizing too late that she'd just lost control of her own show. Imagine this. Hollywood's favorite funny man walks into a bright studio, expecting smiles, small talk, and promotion for his heartfelt new film. But before the first coffee cools, the air changes. Words turn sharp. Laughter fades. Cameras roll as charm gives way to confrontation, and millions would soon witness a moment that would shake daytime TV. That morning, Adam Sandler arrived relaxed, casual as ever, ready to share his latest role, a serious one that critics were already praising. The set of The View buzzed with the usual chatter, but beneath it, something tense simmered. Joy Behar sat poised behind her desk, her expression unreadable, her eyes keen and cutting. The interview began like any other. Then came her first question, pointed and cold. "So Adam, what's with the sudden shift to drama? Are you finally admitting your comedy career's hit its limit?" The air froze. The laughter that followed was nervous, scattered. Sandler's trademark grin faltered for a split second before he steadied himself. "I wouldn't call it sudden," he said, still calm. "I've always loved exploring new sides of storytelling." But Joy pressed harder, her tone sharpening. "Come on, your last few comedies were slammed by critics. Box office failures. Are you just trying to save what's left of your name?" Even Whoopi Goldberg shifted uncomfortably. Sandler kept his posture, though his jaw tightened. "My fans would disagree," he said softly. "They connect with what I make, and that's what counts." Joy laughed dryly. "Connect with who? Teenagers who think fart jokes are peak comedy? When was your last smart film, Adam?" The crowd murmured. This wasn't light teasing. This was a takedown. Sandler's tone stayed measured, but there was steel beneath it. "Joy, I'm not sure what you're trying to do here, but I came to talk about my new film. It's about family, about loss, about something real." "Oh, we can talk about that," Joy shot back, her smirk widening. "Let's just be honest. Your dramatic roles? They're the same old act, just without the cheap laughs. You're not fooling anyone." The audience stirred. A few exchanged looks. Even the producers off-camera seemed unsure whether to step in. Sandler finally leaned forward, his patience thinning. "You know what, Joy? I've been in this business for 30 years. I've made movies that made people laugh and cry. I've worked with legends. If you want to tear me down, fine. But I won't sit here while you insult my career or my fans." Joy's laugh was sharp, humorless. "This isn't personal. It's about calling out mediocrity. You've been coasting on the same jokes for decades while real artists fight to be seen." "Real artists?" Sandler echoed, voice rising. "So comedy doesn't count? Making people laugh doesn't matter?" His voice grew steadier, firmer. "My films give families a reason to smile. They bring people together. They make the world lighter, even for 2 hours. That matters." Joy rolled her eyes. "Spare me the noble act. You're not changing lives." Sandler's voice dropped low, steady as fire under ice. "You want to talk about risks? Every time I stand in front of a camera, it's a risk. Every film is. And you know what the biggest one is? Sitting across from someone who came here not to listen, but to destroy." The studio fell utterly silent. Even the faint hum of the lights seemed louder. Joy's smile turned razor-sharp. "A vendetta? Or maybe I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Hollywood's golden boy who never grew up." Sandler's composure cracked, just slightly. His words came quiet but heavy. "You've made this personal, Joy. So let's talk about you. What have you brought to people's lives? What joy have you created?" Joy blinked, caught off guard. "Excuse me? I've been a journalist for decades. I've won awards." "And yet here you are," Sandler said, voice rising, "using your platform to tear people down. You talk about courage? It's easy to sit at a desk and criticize others. It's harder to put your heart out there for the world to judge." The other hosts froze. Sonny Hostin tried to interject. "Maybe we should..." But Sandler's words cut through. "No, let's finish this. Joy started it. Let's see it through." Joy's eyes glinted. "Your life's work? Making the same movies? Laughing all the way to the bank? That's not art. That's a scam." The audience gasped. The sound filled the air like a wave. Sandler stood up, his chair scraping the floor. "A scam?" he repeated, stunned. "People come to my movies because they want to laugh. They want to forget the world for a while. And they get exactly what they paid for. Can you say the same about this show? Do they tune in to feel good, or to watch you tear someone apart?" Joy stood too, voice rising to meet his. "They tune in for truth, for real questions, not softball nonsense." "Tough questions?" Sandler laughed bitterly. "This isn't journalism, Joy. It's a hit job, and everyone watching can see it." The crew didn't dare cut away. Cameras zoomed in as the clash escalated. Whoopi finally spoke. "Both of you, calm down. This is going too far." But Joy pressed on, her voice cold. "What's going too far is pretending mediocrity deserves applause just because it sells. You're polluting our culture with lazy comedy." Sandler's eyes blazed. "You think I don't care about meaning? Let me tell you what's meaningful." His voice trembled now, not from fear, but fury. "Last month I got a letter from a mom. Her son has autism. She said my movies are the only thing that makes him laugh. That's meaning, Joy. That's humanity. That's real." Joy scoffed, but her tone had softened. "One story doesn't make you a genius, Adam." Sandler's hands clenched. "You know what's garbage? Using your power to hurt people, to tear them down because it makes you feel strong." The audience sat frozen, every eye locked on him. Joy leaned in close, whispering with venom. "At least I'm not a grown man acting like a child for a paycheck." And something in Sandler snapped. "Dignity?" he roared, his voice echoing through the studio. "You sit here gossiping, spreading hate, pretending it's journalism. That's your idea of dignity? That's your legacy?" The air crackled with silence. He pointed at her, voice shaking but unwavering. "You know what real courage looks like? Choosing to make people laugh instead of making them miserable. Building something instead of destroying it. That's courage, Joy. That's dignity." Joy froze, speechless. The crew exchanged panicked looks. Sandler turned to the audience, his voice breaking. "You think making people laugh is easy? You think it's simple to bring light into people's lives? Every joke, every film? It's a risk. And I take that risk because laughter matters." He took out his phone, scrolling through messages. "You want to know why I do it?" he said, voice trembling. "Here, Jennifer from Ohio. Your movies helped me through my divorce. Michael from Texas. My dad has dementia, and your films still make him laugh. Sarah from Michigan. I work 2 jobs. Your movies remind me to breathe." His words echoed through the room. The audience sniffled, some wiping away tears. Even Joy's face had softened, her glare dimming under the weight of his honesty. He looked back at her. "That's substance. That's impact. That's what you call garbage." Joy tried to recover her composure, her voice smaller now. "I just think artists should aim higher." "Higher?" Sandler stepped forward. "You want higher? Then start lifting people up instead of breaking them down." He turned to the camera, his voice calm again, filled with conviction. "To everyone watching, never let anyone make you feel small for what makes you happy. Laughter matters. Joy matters. Don't let the world take that from you." Then he looked back at Joy one final time. "And Joy, I hope you find peace someday. Because tearing others apart isn't strength, it's sadness." He walked off set, leaving behind stunned silence. The studio lights dimmed, the crowd hushed. That moment would live forever, replayed, debated, dissected. But for millions who watched it unfold, it wasn't just about a celebrity defending his name. It was about a man reminding the world that laughter, kindness, and sincerity are worth fighting for. Because in the end, when the noise fades and the cameras go dark, what's left isn't fame or headlines, it's heart. And that day, Adam Sandler proved his heart still beats louder than any critic's voice. So, what do you think? Was he defending himself or defending something bigger? Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us that sometimes the quietest voices hit the hardest. The clip didn't just go viral, it ignited a cultural firestorm. Within hours, it was everywhere, trending on Twitter, dissected on talk shows, replayed on late-night TV. Some called it the moment that broke the view. Others said it was Adam Sandler's defining stand. But one thing was undeniable. He had shifted the conversation. Fans flooded social media with their own stories, pouring out gratitude and emotion. Thousands of comments appeared under the video, people saying his movies helped them through heartbreak, illness, loneliness. Messages like, "I laughed through my pain because of you," and "Thank you for reminding me joy isn't stupid," filled his feed. What began as an ambush had transformed into a tribute. Even major stars weighed in. Comedians, actors, and directors came forward to back him up. Tweets from famous names read like applause. "Comedy is art," one wrote. Another said, "People forget, laughter saves lives too." Meanwhile, Joy Behar stayed unusually quiet. Her producers scrambled to manage the PR disaster, issuing careful statements about creative tension and misunderstandings. But the footage told its own story. No editing, no spin, just raw emotion. When she finally returned on air days later, her tone was changed. "I think maybe I was too harsh," she admitted, avoiding Sandler's name but not his shadow. "Sometimes I forget there's a person sitting across from me." It wasn't quite an apology, but the audience heard the remorse tucked inside her words. Sandler never addressed the controversy directly. He didn't need to. He continued promoting his film quietly, humble and composed. And when it premiered, the story came full circle. Critics called it his best performance yet. Honest, deep, and moving. They wrote that he had shown a rare vulnerability that audiences could finally see for what it was: real. Months later, during an award ceremony, Sandler stepped onto the stage to a standing ovation that lasted nearly a minute. When the applause finally settled, he smiled. A small, genuine smile. "A while ago," he began, voice steady but soft, "someone said what I do doesn't mean much, that it's not serious. But you know what? I've seen what laughter does for people. I've seen how it heals. That's all the meaning I need." The crowd erupted again, not just clapping, but cheering. And as the applause swelled, Sandler added with a wink, "And if making people laugh with a fart joke helps them through a bad day, then yeah, I'll keep doing that too." The room filled with laughter. Loud, joyful, unapologetic. It was the perfect ending to a story that started with humiliation, but ended with humanity. In the weeks that followed, think pieces flooded the internet. Commentators called it the moment authenticity beat arrogance. Others dubbed it the day Hollywood remembered why it fell in love with Adam Sandler in the first place. Even Joy herself, months later, acknowledged in an interview, "He handled it better than I did. I'll give him that." But for Sandler, the victory wasn't about winning a fight. It was about reminding the world that laughter, no matter how silly or simple, is sacred. It's what connects us, heals us, and keeps us human. The incident became more than gossip. It became a symbol, a reminder that kindness and authenticity can still cut through noise louder than any scandal ever could. And when people looked back on that interview, they didn't see a meltdown. They saw a man standing his ground, protecting something pure in a world that often forgets how to smile. Because at the end of the day, when the lights go down and the cameras stop rolling, it's not the critics or the controversy that people remember. It's the heart. And Adam Sandler's heart? It spoke louder than words. So what do you think? Was it a fight or was it a revelation? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories.